Come on in, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We'll get everybody in here, get started here in a moment. All right, filling up. Fabulous. Hope your weekend was well. It's a pretty nice day on Saturday. Sunday was kind of, a little rain during the night, kind of made it a little chillier, but it wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. But yeah, Saturday we had my grandson's birthday party officially. His birthday was a week earlier, but his grandparents came in from out of state and all of that this weekend. So we were at the park and little 2-year-old friends. They're all playing on the playground equipment and just having some snacks, opening some gifts, playing some bubbles. The bubble machine was a big hit. It was running all the time. Kids running around playing in the bubbles. So yeah, that was a fun day. Fun day. Just running around the little people. And it was nice seeing some of my son-in-law's family that was there. My son-in-law, his parents were there, and his grandparents were there. They live up in Missouri. They don't live too far away. There's less than 2 hours, so they came in for the party. Saw some friends from church and some of his little play friends from church. It was good. Two of my daughters are there. Of course, one of the daughters is his mama. So, but it was a pretty day to be in the park. And they got a bunch of new toys to play with now. So I don't even think he's opened the ball. He didn't even open ours because at 2 years old he gets bored of opening gifts. He wants to stop and play with stuff, and then he gets distracted and goes off on something else. It's like, hey, there's still a stack of gifts here. That's okay. Well, he'll get to them later. He'll get to them later. Not a big deal. Don't force him to open them because it's not. There's no joy in that. Wait till he's ready to open more, and then you let him open some more. No need to make him open them all. We did have him open to one of his friends that were there, but if there's still family gifts to open, he can open family gifts later. So since his friends were there, they wanted to see him open their stuff. So that was all good. It's all good. Today we're going to have a lesson, and our assignment is a program. This is the program I wait for all year, and I've actually changed up a little bit. I'm giving you more of the code ahead of time. We're going through classes and method. Now, classes and methods are a little different in Python than what we've been doing. It's kind of like creating a new function, but this function is called a class, and it's like a template. And in the lesson last week, it was compared to like a new contact on your phone. You pick up your phone, you want to add a new contact, you hit that plus button or new contact or whatever it says on your phone, and there will be a template there ready to fill in their name and address and usually their email and maybe their company they work for. There's usually a lot of information on a contact. Some of it you use and most of it you don't. That's what a class is like in Python. You're setting up a template and then you can create more items in that template. Like you can create several. You can create several contacts on your phone, right? A whole bunch. You can create several using that class in Python. And so we're going to have a program this week, and this is the superhero program. I always look forward to this one because I want to see your superheroes. In this week's program, you're going to create a superhero. You can create more than one superhero. That'd be great. Make a couple of them, and then you're going to write a story for your superhero. So you're going to have a lot of print statements. Print. So this happened, and this happened, and this happened, this happened. All these print statements of these things that happen, and you're going to use your superhero and talk about his strength and what else do I have in there? His motto, and there's one other thing. We'll look at it and all this. And during his story, he needs to do something heroic that raises his strength points because that's one of the methods we're going to look at. A method to add strength points. And then he's going to save the world. And there's another method you're going to call where he saves the world. So we'll go through this lesson first so you kind of understand what I'm talking about with methods and classes and all that kind of stuff. So pay attention because you're going to need to use some of this in your program this week. So let me put it up on the screen. Okay, going to our grade screen. Everything's done in module 4. You should be at the bottom of the grade screen with classes and methods. And then next week, we'll have an exam over all of this that we've learned here with codes and objects. Classes and methods. You should have done the 5-question quiz on OOP. I do have a video on how to do the 5.02 if you are still missing it. And some of you are still missing it. So I added a video on Friday okay, this is how you do this, guys. So look in Google Classroom. Oh, I'll even show you. It's right here in Google Classroom. There it is. Need help with the 5.02 program. There is a short video, 9 minutes. This is such a quick and easy program because the lesson gave us most of the code. So that took 9 minutes for me to make the video on how to do the whole thing. So we'll come back to that. 5.04. Let's go look at this. Classes and methods lesson. Oh, we start out with a little poem for a do-it-yourself robot army. So object-oriented programming is all about efficiency and control, just like robot armies. Robot army, a poem. I'd like to make a robot army, said little Josephine McNee. Some large, some small, some yellow-green. I'd make a class so it's less work and change their arms and legs and smirks. I'll add some methods to make some fly, some dance, some sing, and others cry. These robot objects will be my friends, all made from one, but different. Oh, wait, what's that? What's that you say? You say I'm programming the wrong way? My robot army says you've been led astray. So there you go, a little poem. Talking about classes and methods. So you're going to create a class to make a template and just start producing robot army men left and right. So little robot guys. All right, after this lesson, you'll be able to define a class in OOP, determine the attributes of an object, use parameters to define an object, and add methods. So we're all going to talk about class and methods and attributes and all of that good stuff. So defining a class. You've been working in Python, which means you've been working with object-oriented programming. Like most modern programming languages, Python allows you to work with objects that you create. Programs written in OOP can be larger and more complex, but it's still pretty easy to maintain them. So think about turtle objects. Every time a new turtle is created, a new instance of the turtle class is created. It's given values for its attributes, like the color you want it to use or the speed that you want to draw it. Those are different attributes of your turtle. And instructions, also known as calling its methods, like going forward, going backward, going right, going left. Those are the instructions. You know, you're calling a method that the turtle does. Objects occur everywhere, like on your cell phone. When you create a new contact, that's creating an instance of a contact class. Think of a class like a blueprint for an object. It creates a template to create new objects and what they can do. So because classes often represent real-life objects like a contact in your phone, class names are usually nouns. It's also a best practice to capitalize the first letter of each word, like class contact or class phone contact in your class names. So it's a little different than camel case. In camel case, we would not capitalize the P, only the C. But with classes, it's best practice to go ahead and capitalize the first letter of each word. So let's look at how you might create a contact class. So class, there's that keyword. You got to use that keyword class in Python. It tells it, hey, I'm creating a class, and here is the name of it, class contact. And then you put a colon. So that's step one, define the class. Kind of like when we define main, but this time we don't use define, DEF, we use class. Use the Python keyword class to define a new class, give it a name. So we're creating this called contact. Then, underneath that, once you've defined the class, use the init to initialize new objects. So this is initializing, init. Every class needs one of these. So when you create a new object, this method sets all the initial values. It's basically setting, like when you create a new contact, it sets the name up, but it sets up as a blank field for letters, right? So initializing does the same thing. Initializing new objects. What kind of things are you going to initialize in your class? Set the parameter. The parameter self plays a key role in the class. You would put self here in parentheses. They're used to reference the object so it can set its attribute values. In this case, the attribute values are blank. Self name equals just blank because every time you use this class, you're going to give different names. So we're going to set that as just an empty field. Like your phone number. Every time you use that, everyone's going to have a different phone number. So it sets up the name and phone number as just empty fields. Name your instance. So down in your define main, when I actually want to create that new contact, I have to give it a name. In this case, they're giving it new contact. And then they are calling that class. See class contact? Calling that class right here by using the name of that class. So new contact, and new contact is how you refer to this specific contact. Then you may create a second contact and a third contact or whatever. Class contact, let's see, self.name equals, retrieve the object values. To retrieve the values for the contact's name and phone number, use dot notation. So like if we've created this new contact and we've given it a name and we've given it a phone number, when we want to use it, and this is the same thing with your superhero. When I want to use the name of this new superhero that I created, I would print, now this is in parentheses, so it's going to print that to the screen, right? Name, colon, that's actually going to print to the screen. Plus, here's how I reference the name of this contact in the phone. New contact, because I'm talking about this one. I might have created more than one contact. You probably have a lot in your phone. So they're saying for this contact, dot name, print his name, whatever's in the name field, because it has a name field and a phone field. Plus, let's print a space. Let's just print a space in quotes. Plus, let's print this new contact's phone number, because we also have a field called phone in our contact. So for this new contact, it would print out the name and phone. Now, they really need to add the name and phone when they create it. And hopefully we'll see that on the next page. But this in the parentheses is when you actually give it the name and the phone number right there. Okay, let's go to page 3. Improving the initializer. All right, because we are going to need to do this. Well, actually, this is done for you in the class. When you create a new object, it needs to initialize or start with some initial values. You can improve it by adding parameters. All right, so previously the initializer method set the name and phone number of contact to blank strings. But what if we could set the name and phone number when we first create the object? We can. You do this by adding parameters. So in your contact here, class contact, create a new contact, we're going to say initialize self name right here. We're going to say name equals nothing. It's going to be empty field, and phone equals an empty field. We're going to set that as a parameter when we initialize right here. The attributes of name and phone are added to the parameter list, and they're set to empty strings. So down here, we would say self name equals name and self name equals phone, or self.phone equals phone. So this is where they can pass those attributes back and forth. So now, and this is what I was talking about on the previous page, when we create that new contact, or when you create that superhero and you call this contact class up here, class contact, you tell it what the values are for this new contact. Give it a name of Monty and give it this phone number, 123-555-9876. Now notice this is in quotes because it's not a math number. A phone number is nothing that we're going to do math with. We're not going to add 10 to it. We're not going to multiply it by 3. We're not going to do any math. So we're treating it like a string, like it's letters. That's why it's in quotes. If you actually wanted to just add a number, like on our superhero program, we're going to have his strength. What's his strength points? Well, you would not put his strength points in quotes because you may want to do math with it. Well, he has a strength of 70. That's his strength points. 70 would not be in quotes. But a phone number is not actually a number, because numbers something we do math with. So then when you print name equals new contact dot name, the name has been initialized right here when we created it, Monty. It will print Monty, and it will print this phone number right here on this statement. So let's just copy this. I'll copy that real quick and open an idle window. Oh, I got an idle window open. Okay, here is that right off the lesson. Run. There it is. Name Monty. Phone number 123-555-9876. We created a new contact. You could create another contact. Equals contact. Another contact equals, and I'm going to call that contact class, and I'm going to give it Mr. Brock, and Mr. Brock's phone number 479-867-5309. Yeah, I need to put another dash in. That's not my phone number, but for those 80s lovers, you'll recognize that. I guess I should change that to Jenny's number. Okay, Jenny's number. And then if we printed that one instead, we'd say instead of new contact, we'd call it another contact. Because I don't want to. I'm not printing Monty's anymore. I'm printing Jenny's phone number now. See, all I did is I referred to that one, another contact, and its name. It could be like Hero 2 or something. Another contact phone. So it just depends. I can print either one of them because I have created two different contacts using this class. This class contact. It's a parameter of a name and phone number. So I have to send it a name and a phone number because that's the parameters. I have to send a name and a phone number. So I did. I sent the name and the phone number, and it sets it up right there. It's initialized. It's good. So let's look at their Python guide activity here. Class contact, define initialize self, create a new contact. This one doesn't have the parameters up here. So it sets it up down here as blank objects. Run new contact equals contact. So when I run this, nothing happens because there's not a print statement one. But there's a lot going on. The contact class, like a contact list in your phone, is created. The initializer method is key. It's initialized. It assigns values to name and phone that are blank. In the main function, the statement new contact equals contact creates an object of this called new contact. So it exists. It's just blank because we didn't give it anything. Right? It needs a name. Let's go to the next slide. Same thing with our contact class, but now in our main function, we created that new contact and we said the initial value is going to be nothing, right? Because, oh, I didn't mean to delete that. Because it sets it up as empty. Then we can change the data down here in the program. New contact.name equals Monty. See, we printed the new contact.name, which is set empty. Then we changed it and we're going to print it again. The initial value, it's empty. There's nothing there. Then we told it to change that value. Like if someone changes their phone number, you do new contact.phone. Even if you have a phone number already set up with it, you could say new contact.phone and put the new phone number, and then it would update it to have different information. So that's what this slide does. This is setting it up and then giving it values. Okay, now we've changed the class. We've added those parameters saying, hey, when you create something, you need to give us the name and phone number in the creation statement. So down here, when we do new contact equals contact, at that point, we go ahead and create the name and phone number. We send that to the class because it's already waiting for that because it needs that information when we create it now because we've added that into the initialization statement. So then when they print it, so we created a new contact, we gave it a name and phone number. So now they're printing the name and the phone number under my contacts. There it is. Monty 1, 2, 3. Create using the class, and then you can just do print statements, which you'll need to do to write your Superman story, your superhero story. You're going to use his name. You're going to talk about his strength points, his motto, all of that good stuff. That's going to be part of that. All right, what changed? The initializer methods. Now when we construct it, we can provide the name and phone number right away. When we created new contact, we gave all the information right there when we created. And that's how we're going to do it with our program today. Let's look at slide 4. Read them code, predict the output. Okay, we still have the parameters in the initialization statement, so that's good. So when we create it, oh, look, we can create more than one. Like if you want to create more than one superhero to use in your program, you can have Hero 1 and Hero 2 or whatever you want to name that. Here's a contact called Monty and a contact of Dan. So we've created 2 individual contacts. And then they print just some headings, new contact name, plus put some space and put the new contact phone number. And then when I want to talk about the second contact, I just use this second value, new contact 2, name and phone number. Then they're updating. Dan got a new phone. So new contact 2 is getting a new phone number. And we will print the updated information. So basically, we just print it again. So let's run this. So here is my contacts right here. The initial values that were set up here when we created these 2 contacts, that's the values right there that we gave them. Then we ran that code to update the phone number. And now you'll see Dan has a new phone number now. This has changed. It's now 543-555-9876. Dan's phone number changed. And we did that with just one line. New contact 2.phone. We just said, hey, make the phone equal to this now. I know it was that, but that has changed. And that's how easy it is to change your values that are already set up in your class. Just refer to the individual instance of the class that you want to change. All right, we have more examples. Page 4. Adding methods. We just talked about the class. We didn't talk about methods. This makes your object smarter and gives it more functionality so it can do something besides just creating itself. So we're going to keep working with this contact and new contact that we've already done. So you want to create something that'll store Monty's information, including a ringtone. We're going to add a ringtone. And we're going to define a method inside the class, a method called play ringtone. So here's what it looks like. Define play ringtone, and then self still. We're going to use that same self that we were using in our class. If self.ringtone equals hello, then print hello, it's me. Else print ring ring. So maybe we set up some contacts with a special ringtone, hello, and all the others just are the default ring ring. To make a contact object play a ringtone, be like new contact.play ringtone. Let's look at it how that works in code and see it make a little more sense if we can see it in a program. So we've added another parameter, another attribute to our class. Another parameter has to be sent. This is a new attribute. Now when it creates a contact, it creates it with a blank name, a blank phone number, and a blank ringtone. Right? And then we have to add ringtone here as one of the initialization statements. Now, look, we are still inside the class contact. We're still inside there, and we have another function. Besides the initialization statement, we've created, this is what's called a method inside the class up here that is called play ringtone. And we again have to put that self on there. Play ringtone assigned to the contact. So if self.ringtone for whatever contact you're looking at, if it equals hello, print hello, it's me. Else if maybe their ringtone is shake it off. If the ringtone is shake it off, print, because the player's going to play, 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 play. Else if maybe their ringtone is single ladies. If their ringtone is single ladies, play, play, print, because if you liked, then you should have put a ring on it. Else, print, ring, ring. So this is the only customized ones that we're using on our phone. Everybody else will just have a normal ringtone. Now we get into our main program, define main. And we create a contact, Monty. Still got Monty here, and we're going to give him a special ringtone of hello. So we're going to print his name, his phone number, and his ringtone. And then we're going to call that method. We said new contact, so I want to send Monty to that play ringtone method that we created right here. Define. See, all we have to do is put the name of that. Play ringtone. Play ringtone. That's the name. We said use Monty and go up to that play ringtone. So there is Monty 123-555. His ringtone is hello. And then when we played that method, when we went right here, line 31, it printed hello, it's me. Because that's what it said to do in this method up here. It said if the ringtone is hello, print hello, it's me. So that's what happened on this line down here. Cool. Okay, so a method is a separate thing in here that you can make something happen. Some function can happen. And we'll look at our superhero program and see what we're doing with that. Okay, same thing, name, phone, ringtone. There's the hello, shake it off, single ladies. Here's our new contact. Same information right here. We're printing Monty's information. Now we're going to go to new contact, play ringtone. We're still playing his ringtone. And then we're going to change his ringtone. We said, okay, new contact dot ringtone should now be shake it off. We're going to change it. Then we're going to print all his information again. And we're going to again call that same method. We can call methods over and over and over and over again. So when we run it this time, Monty, there's his phone number, his ringtone is hello. So when we call the method, it prints hello, it's me. Then we did this up here that we changed things on line 33. We changed it. Yeah. So then we said Monty's phone number, his new ringtone is now shake it off. And when we call the method, I did this instead because the player's going to play, 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 play. Okay, kind of getting an idea of how this works. Now, as you practice with it, as you use it in your program, you'll get better. Now, look, we have 4 attributes. A name, a phone number, a ringtone, and dues owed. Must be in a club. Something. And this is not in quotes because this is actually a number that we're doing math with. Right now, he owes 0. Well, initialize, when you set up a contact, it's going to say they don't owe anything unless you say they do owe something. So we initialize 4 attributes. We set them up beneath here. So there's the 4 attributes initialized. And we have a method, pay dues. Now, look, we have 2 things here. Usually we just do self, but we have to send how much they paid. You have to send that. Like, we have an attribute in our program this week that's going to be add strength points. That's the name of our method. So when you add strength points, you have to send a number. How many strength points are being added? Because it's different for everybody, right? There's not a certain amount of money. We don't know how much money they're going to pay, so we just send that. And what it does is the self dues owed, whatever their dues owed is, will have self dues owed minus whatever we paid. When they do a payment, we'll say, hey, they paid $10. So it'll go and say, okay, let me see what they owe, and I'll subtract $10 from it. So what they owe now is $10 less. So let's go look how they did that in the main function. We create Monty with his phone number, his ringtone, and he Dues owed is $12.50. So he has the amount he owed. Print his name and phone. Print how much he owes. Dues owed. Now, notice we have to use that string command because this is a number. When we print, use that string. New contact dot dues owed. Now Monty has made a payment. The payment is $10. So we're going to call that method pay dues. We're going to call that method up here, pay dues. And we have to send the parameter. In this case, we're sending $10. That's what payment equals. Right. So the dues owed now should be $10 less when we print it. Run program. Monty, dues owed $12.50, but he paid $10. Now he owes $2.50. So you got to pass the parameter if it has an attribute besides self. You don't have to send self. If there's any other attributes in this method, you have to send that parameter to it. Oh, I need to send the amount of money. Okay, that is the end of our samples, which teach you how to use the methods in the class. Let's go look at the template. Oh, that was the $5 coupon. This week, week 32. Let's look at this template. I do have the AI helper. Let's look at this template. This assignment has two parts. Part one, design the program. Write a program to define a superhero class, set the attributes, and call the methods. Here's the guidelines. Use idle. Copy and paste the superhero class code below. Look, I've given you class superhero with 4 attributes and 2 methods. So you're going to copy and paste this into your program. Make sure you have your name, date, and description of the program at the top. Define your main function and follow indentation. Use meaningful variable names. You may use this code as a starting point. Okay. Then in the main function, create your superhero. Be sure to assign values for all of its attributes. You should mention the attributes and call the 2 methods in your story because you're writing a superhero story. Create output that describes your superhero in a story, fashion, or series of events. And I even gave you the pseudocode this time. So use the pseudocode below. Put your name, date, purpose, use the code provided, define your main function, create a superhero, create a story using the superhero's attributes in the story. Have the hero do something that adds a strength to where you call that method. You have to call the method add strength points somewhere in your program. And he's got to save the day and call the save world method and then end your function. So let's look what these 2 methods do so you know what you need to be putting in your story. This one takes whatever strength points they already had, because strength points is one of the attributes, and it adds points to it. So he does something. Maybe he's Popeye and he eats some spinach and now he gains strength, right? The other one is the hero performs some action. This does not have any parameters that you send to it. You just call this and it will print whatever the superhero's name is. And he shouts whatever his motto is, because motto is another one of his attributes. And he saves the world. So let's kind of look at how this works. I'm going to go ahead and copy this class. I'm going to go over here. Okay, we'd put our name, date, purpose. And then I'm going to create this class. Here it is. I've pasted the class in there. And I need to know what there is. There's a name, there's a strength points, there's a motto, and there's a weakness. What's your superhero's weakness? Okay, now I have to define my main function. And I need to create a superhero. Hero equals. And what is this called? Superhero is the class name. Superhero. And I have to send it parameters for these 4 attributes it has. Name, strength points, motto, and weakness. I'm going to call him Super Bob. What's the second one? Second one is his strength points. Oh, I don't need a. It's a number, so I don't need quotes. He's not very strong. He's only got strength points of 25. His motto. Let's see. I can do anything if I'm awake. Okay, Super Bob's not necessarily that super, but I'm just playing. And then his weakness. Let's see. His weakness will be cheeseburgers. He's got some weird. So I have created a superhero. Oh, not there. And I can talk about him in my story. Print. And if I call hero.name, it'll print his name. Was walking down the street. Print with a strength of, and then I'll say plus string, hero dot strength points. Our hero stooped over to pick up a stick or something. I'm just being silly here. But let me put my main function on it to run it. When I run this, I've got an error. What did I do? Quote, quote, quote. Somewhere I've messed up some. Oh, did I not spell strength points? No, I did strength points right. Strength points. I'm not sure. Oh, it's up here. It's the line above it. I didn't close the quotes. There it is. Oh, I need to put a space between there. Super Bob was walking down the street. With a strength of 25, our hero stooped over to pick up a stick. And you just keep writing your story. And you talk about his motto, or, because his motto is used right there. His weakness, somewhere you're going to have it. He comes across his weakness, and, whatever happens, you're going to build the whole story. And at some point, let me see. Let me go ahead and call a method. So let's see. Print. Let's see. The stick was radioactive and added 100 to his strength. And then I'm going to call that add strength points method. So hero dot add strength. Oh, it's add capitalized as well. I need to make sure it's add is not capitalized. It should have been, I guess. Where's I'm going to put it? Add strength points 100. I'm calling the method with my hero. Print his strength is now, and then I'm going to print what his strength is now. Hero dot strength points. Oh, why did I mess up again? Oh, again, I left off the ending parentheses. Super Bob walking down the street with a strength of 25. Our hero stooped over to pick up a stick. The stick was radioactive and added 100 to his strength. His strength is now 125. So it worked. Because I printed his strength points and it was 25, and then I printed them again and 125 because I called the method right there in the middle of the program that adds the strength points that I send as a parameter. So all you have to do is hero dot. If you name it hero, you can name this something different. I'm just calling it hero. And maybe you wanted to create a second hero, hero 2 or something. Betty may be my superhero, who's a lot stronger than a Bob. Her motto is "I am the best." Have some more fun with your mottos that I'm doing. And her weakness is, let's say, like hairspray. I guess that means their hair's a mess all the time or something. But I could create a second hero, and I could use hero2.name, hero2. So you can create as many superheroes as you want because you have this template right here. And add their strength points. And when you save the world at the end of the story, whatever Bob or Betty does to save the world, then I will call that method called save world. And I don't have to send any parameters to that. This one I had points, so I had to send the points when I ran that one. I had to send that parameter. There are no parameters on save world. That gives you a good head start. I've given you starting code with the class, all of its attributes, and both methods. Past years, I've only given you 2 attributes I've made you add to, and I've only given you 1 method and made you add a second method. But I went ahead and added that this time because I didn't want that to be a stumbling block because a lot of people struggle with that. So have some fun. If you want to add another attribute to it, you can, or add another method. You're free to do that if you're comfortable with that. I want to put his villain as one of the attributes. Who's his nemesis? You can add that if you want to use that in your story. You want to have that as one of the attributes of your superhero. I'm fine with that. But you don't have to add any more attributes. You don't have to add any more methods. You just have to use the ones you create. Use them in your story. Mention what his weakness is at some point. Hero.weakness, in your story. And make sure you call both methods to add strength points and to save the world, because that's what our heroes do, right? Our superheroes save the world because they're super and they're heroes. So have some fun with this, guys. You can have as many print statements as you want to print your story out. Whatever you need to get all of that succeed in saving the world there. So, all right, guys, if you have questions, I will be here in class on Wednesday. Some of you are behind and your grades down, so you have to be here on Wednesday. But if you need help with any programs, I'll be here on Wednesday. So have some fun with this, guys. We'll catch you next time. Have a great week.